People said life could change in a minute, but for Ethan Carter, it changed in a single breath. As a single dad raising his 7-year-old son, Noah, he had learned to live with chaos, setbacks, and sleepless nights. But nothing prepared him for the moment a lawyer knocked on his worn-out apartment door and delivered a message that would flip his world upside down. If he wanted to keep custody of Noah, his whole world, Ethan was required to follow a shocking clause left behind by his late foster mother. He had to marry a woman she once cared for, a woman who couldn't walk and had no one left in her life. Viewers watching had no idea what that twist would lead to, but by the end of the story, they would witness a transformation so powerful it would feel unbelievable. And if you're watching this right now, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because stories like this remind us how love and kindness can rebuild lives. Ethan wasn't wealthy, wasn't famous, and wasn't the kind of man who believed miracles happened for people like him. He worked 2 jobs, delivering packages by day and cleaning offices at night. He barely had time to breathe, but he always made time to tuck in Noah, read him a bedtime story and whisper, "We'll be okay." So when he heard the lawyer say, "If you don't agree, Child Services will review Noah's living arrangements," his hands trembled. He thought of Noah's smile, his tiny drawings stuck on the fridge, the way he hugged Ethan every morning. Losing him wasn't an option. That's how Ethan met Lily Hartman. Lily lived in an old, quiet rehabilitation home where the hallways smelled like antiseptic and lost hope. She had been paralyzed from the waist down for 3 years after a devastating accident. Once a vibrant young woman who taught art, she now believed her life had ended the day her legs stopped moving. When Ethan arrived to meet her, Lily was sitting by a window, staring at raindrops sliding down the glass as if counting the moments she'd missed. Their first meeting was painfully awkward. She looked at Ethan with confusion, and he stood with his hands in his pockets, unsure how to explain the situation without sounding cruel. "So, you're supposed to marry me?" she asked quietly. Ethan swallowed. "Only if you're okay with it. I won't force anything. But I might lose my son if I don't." Lily studied his face. A man tired, sincere, and clearly terrified of losing the little he had. She hesitated, not because she wanted marriage, but because she recognized desperation in his eyes. They had that in common. They were both fighting to stay afloat. After a long silence, she whispered, "If this helps you and gives me a place outside this room, I'll do it." The marriage was simple, almost silent. No guests, no music, no smiles. Just 2 lives colliding out of necessity, not choice. When Lily moved into Ethan's small apartment, Noah greeted her with shy curiosity. He didn't understand why his dad married someone he hardly knew, but Lily's gentle voice and warm smile quickly softened him. She taught him to draw, listened to him talk about dinosaurs, and cheered when he showed her his school projects. But Ethan and Lily struggled. Ethan constantly rushed between work shifts, chores, and Noah's needs. Lily tried to help, but her body had limits. Ethan felt guilty asking for anything, and Lily felt guilty being unable to give more. Their home was filled with kindness, but also frustration. One night, after Ethan came home late from work, utterly drained, he found Lily struggling to reach a box on the top kitchen shelf. She was pushing her wheelchair forward repeatedly, trying to hook the box with a wooden spoon. When Ethan saw her nearly fall, he rushed over. "I told you I'll help," he said, trying not to sound upset. "And I told you I don't want to feel useless," she replied sharply. Their eyes met, both hurting for reasons they couldn't express. Lily turned her face away. "I'm trying, Ethan. I really am. But sometimes I feel like I'm a burden." "You're not," he said softly. "We're all just trying in different ways." He didn't touch her, didn't even step too close, but that conversation shifted something between them. They began talking more, sharing stories, laughing occasionally. Noah became the bridge that eased the silence between them. Weeks passed. The tension softened. Lily began physical therapy again, encouraged by Noah's stubborn optimism. "One day you'll run again," he told her. Lily always smiled but never believed it, until a moment arrived that neither she nor Ethan expected. During one therapy session, Lily tried to stand using parallel bars. Her arms shook, her breath caught, and sweat rolled down her temples. She felt her legs, weak, numb, disconnected, but she pushed. When she couldn't lift herself, she whispered, "Maybe I'll never walk again." Ethan stepped closer. He didn't talk first. He didn't pity her. He simply looked at her with the same fierce determination he had whenever Noah needed him. "Lily," he said quietly, "you don't have to walk for the world, but if someday you choose to take even one step, I'll be right here. Not because of the marriage, not because of a rule, but because you matter." It wasn't a dramatic kiss or sudden magic moment. It was simple support, quiet and deep, and somehow that mattered more. Lily kept trying, day after day. Little by little, she fought through pain and fear. Her legs didn't suddenly come alive, but she started feeling small twitches she hadn't felt in years. Every improvement brought tears to her eyes. Months later, everything changed. During a late therapy session, Ethan held her hands as she attempted to stand. Her arms trembled violently, but she pressed down on the bars, her eyes locked on his. "Don't let go," she whispered. "I won't," he promised. And then, in a moment that felt unreal, Lily's left leg responded. Not fully, not strongly, but enough to lift her weight. Then her right leg followed. Ethan's eyes widened. Lily gasped. She was standing, shaking, crying, leaning heavily on the bars. But she was standing. Noah has to see this," Ethan said, laughing breathlessly. When Noah saw her, he ran to her with tears streaming down his cheeks. He hugged her tightly, and for the first time in years, she hugged him back while upright. It wasn't a miracle kiss or a magical transformation. It was patience, hope, and the belief she thought she had lost forever. Ethan didn't fix her. He walked with her through the darkness until she rediscovered her own strength. Their home slowly filled with moments of real connection. Not forced, not arranged, but earned. Lily began walking short distances with support. She regained parts of her life she thought were gone. And Ethan discovered that love wasn't always loud and sudden. Sometimes it grew quietly, like dawn after a long night. By the time their marriage, once a lifeline, became something deeper. They didn't need vows to prove it. Their lives spoke for them. Lily stood not because someone saved her, but because someone believed in her while she learned to believe in herself again. Ethan kept his son not because of a legal clause, but because he built a home full of compassion and resilience. And Noah, well, he got the family he always dreamed of. If you've watched this far, remember this. Sometimes life gives us chapters we never asked for, but they can lead to endings we never imagined. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more stories that remind us that hope, just like love, can stand again, even after the hardest fall.